Hey Koi Zoomers, welcome back to the stream. Today we'll be getting some work done by working on my current assigned video for the Dual Logs Yu-Gi-Oh channel. We have around 7.5 minutes left to do, which we're planning to complete today. We're not sure yet whether we'll do all of it or stream or not. It largely depends on whether our progress gets slowed down a lot on stream or not. This will be our first time doing actual editing besides the test stream from last time, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Anyway, as you guys probably noticed by now, we're using a PNG this time to hopefully prevent the bit of lag we felt last time while editing. Because we'll be muted for the most of this stream anyway and just working, it's more of a way to just vibe with us as we work together. You'll end up hearing a lot of Dual Logs voice this stream as we edit, so enjoy that. Welcome to our hell, hahaha. This Yu-Gi-Oh playlist is so intense, what the hell. But yet I do also have a script, but I can't really show that easily, I think, because I only have one screen and I keep tabbing. So we'll just show this screen and that's it, hahaha. So we're currently at the number 4, so we're going to have to do the last 4 spots today. I'll do a quick check of the transition I used first and whether I already decided on what I use for the text, and then get started. I will be going mute now for most of the stream, but I'll have chat open on my phone so I'll still see it if you guys do see something. But feel free to just vibe while we work. Anyway, on to work now. This will take us about 3.5 to 4 hours to complete most likely. But not sure we'll stream all of it yet. Okay, I'm going mute now to work. Vibe time.
Netting souls over in Bone Tower, a respectable position on this list. And flipping into number 4 is Morphing Jar. Morphing Jar is an Earth level 2 rock flip monster that, on flip summon, makes both players discard their entire hands and then draw 5 cards. Jar is one of the oldest cards in the game, and has quite the legacy as a mill card. that it's its effect is so iconic that it's the namesake of the original mill deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Empty Jar. Alongside its retrained Cyber Jar, Empty Jar would use cards such as alongside its retrained Cyber Jar. Cards such as Book of Moon or Book of Inside its retrained Cyber Jar, Empty Jar would use cards such as Book of Moon or Book of Taiyu to repeatedly change Morphin Jar between face-up and face-down defense position. This strategy This strategy forces both players to discard and draw large amounts of cards from their deck. This strategy forces both players to discard amounts of cards from their deck, both refilling the hand of the empty jar player with more spells, more spells to continue their combo and rapidly milling their opponent. Outside of mill strategies, Morphing Jar was a Morphing Jar was a staple utility monster in early Yu-Gi-Oh! The ability ability to go +5 by refilling an empty hand is a great payoff in any deck. It was a tech choice in decks such as Teledad, such as Teledad and Monarchs. 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 This was so much the case that Morphing Jar has spent time with This was a deck. It was a tech choice in decks such as Teledad and Monarchs. This was so much the case that Morphing Jar has spent time with Ribbon and limited list in the past. It remains limited to this day. Morphing Jar has spent time with Ribbon and limited list in the past.
Yes, dual logs. The forbidden limited list I see. Okay. Nice job, my guy.
So much the case that Morphing Jar has spent time with Ribbon and limited list in the past and remains limited to this day. Despite this limited status, Limited status, Morphin Jar sees absolutely Morphin Jar limited status, Morphin Jar sees absolutely no play in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Due to the fact that it's a flip monster. Despite the wide variety of Yu-Gi-Oh! Due to the fact that it's a flip Yu-Gi-Oh! Due to the fact that it's a flip monster, despite the wide variety of incidental support it's received. They can easily be found in special summon by Emancipator and Sprite. Special summon by Emancipator and Sprite, and recent formats have even they can easily be found in special summon by Emancipator and Sprite, and recent Sprite, and Emancipator and Sprite, and Sprite, and recent formats have even seen cards such as Book of Moon and Book of summon by Emancipator and Sprite, and recent formats have even seen cards such as Book of Moon and Book of such as Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse as pop special summon by Emancipator and Sprite, and recent formats have even seen cards such as Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse as popular and Sprite, and recent formats have even seen cards such as Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse as popular tech options to counter meta strategies. Strategies to counter to counter meta strategies. To counter meta strategies.
This is a video about deck out cards, so milling stuff.
To counter meta strategies. Even with all to counter meta strategies. Even with all of these stars aligned in Morphing Jar's favor, the flip options to counter meta strategies. Even with all of these stars aligned in Morphing Jar's favor, the flip requirement for its effect to discard and draw 5 is enough to prevent it from seeing play and being higher on this list. And bouncing into number 3 is number 3 is and bouncing into number 3 is Kelback. And bouncing into number 3 is Kelback the Ancient Vanguard. Level 4 Earth Fairy monster. This is a level 4 Earth Fairy monster with 2 effects. Both with heart once per turns. First, if a card is sent First, if a card is sent from the hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, you can target a special summon monster in your opponent's graveyard. You can target a special summon monster in your opponent's graveyard. You can target a special summon monster your opponent controls to special summon Kelbeck and bounce the target back to their hand. Second, if Kelbeck is sent from Second, if Kelbeck is sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard, you can mill 5 cards from both players. You can mill 5 cards from both players' decks to the graveyard. And if Exchange of the Spirits is in your graveyard, you can set any 1-trap card from your graveyard to your field. Second, if Kelbeck is sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard, you can mill 5 cards from both players' decks to the graveyard. And if Exchange of the Spirits is in your graveyard, you can set any 1-trap card from your graveyard to your field. While commonly associated with this Shizu While commonly associated with the Shizu 2 elements as both an extender the Shizu 2 elements as both an extender and a hand trap, Tailback and the other is user tailback is both an extender and a hand trap. Trap. And a hand trap. This user two elements is both an extender and a hand trap. Killback and the other user retrains are highly effective in dedicated deck out strategies as well. Killback has synergy with many other cards previously mentioned on this list due to its activation requirement of being sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Other cards previously mentioned on this list due to strategies as well. Killback has synergy with many other cards previously mentioned on this list due to its activation requirement of being sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Due to its activation requirement of being sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard. To its activation requirement of being sent from your hand or deck requirement of being sent from your on this list due to its activation requirement of being sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And it's searchable with both both Keldo the Sacred Protector and with both Keldo the Sacred Protector and Gravekeeper's Trap. The latter of these two, Keldo the Sacred Protector, and Gravekeeper's Trap. The latter of these two, Gravekeeper's Trap, is a good consistency card for decks attempting to deck out their opponent since it guarantees access to both Kelbeck and Agito's mills. Gravekeeper's Trap is a good consistency Trap is a good consistency card for decks attempting to deck out their opponent since it guarantees access to both opponent since it their opponent since it guarantees access to both Kelbeck and Agito's mills. And can give you access to Keldo. And Mudoro to shuffle them back into the deck for repeat, and can give you access to kill. And can give you access to Keldon Mudoro to shuffle them back into the deck for repeated usage. To Keldon Mudoro to shuffle them back into the deck for access to Keldon Mudoro to access to Keldon Mudoro to shuffle them back into the deck for repeated usage. Despite the fact that fact that Agito is technically better at milling cards when the Ishizu brick exchange of the spirit is in the change of the brick exchange of the spirit when the Ishizu brick exchange of the spirit is in the graveyard. Killback takes the spot above Agito due to both its hand and bonus graveyard effect being much better than Agito's. Exchange of the spirit is in the graveyard. Killback takes the spot above Agito due Agito due to both its hand and bonus graveyard effect being much better than Agito's. Though most competitive strategies chose to eschew exchange of the spirit, chose to eschew exchange of the spirit. If you do decide to run it, it allows If you do decide to run it, it allows Kelbeck to set any trap from your graveyard directly to your field. Run it, it allows Kelbeck to set it allows Kelbeck to set Run it, it allows Kelbeck to set any trap from your graveyard directly to your field immediately after it mills 5 cards in both decks. This includes powerful counter and continuous traps traps like Solemn Judgment and Skill Drain respectively, which can enable you to slow down the game and give you the extra turns needed to reach deck out. Kelbeck's hand effect to bounce a hand effect to bounce a monster's hand effect to bounce a monster is also live more often than you think. Since it triggers upon cards going from your opponent's hand or deck to the grave, it allows hand effect to bounce a monster is also live more often than you think. Since it triggers upon cards going from your opponent's hand or deck to the grave, it allows it to activate in response to most hand traps and mini combo starters like Branded Fusion or Super Heavy Branded Fusion. Starters like to the grave, it allows it to activate in response to most hand traps and activate in response to most hand traps and mini combo starters like Branded Fusion. Artists like Branded Fusion or Super Heavy Samurai Prodigy Waka Ushi. Starters like Branded Fusion or Super Heavy Samurai or Super Starters like Branded Fusion or Super Heavy Samurai Prodigy Waka Ushi. Or Super Heavy Samurai Prodigy Artists like Branded Fusion or Super Heavy Samurai Prodigy Waka Ushi. Overall, Kelbeck Overall, Kelbeck and the other issues are retrained. Overall, Kelbeck and the other issues are Overall, Kelbeck and the other issues or retrains are some of the most effective toolbox mill cards ever printed, but are unable to consistently facilitate a mill strategy by themselves, keeping them from the top 2 spots on this list. Show me the extra, because at number 2 we have and railing to number 9, and striking at number, and zipping into number 7, and at number 6, and Lumino. Show me the extra, because at number 2 we have number 8. Show me the extra, because at number 2 we have number 8. Show me the extra, because at number 2 we have number 8. Show me the extra, because at number 2 we have number 89. Show me the extra, because at number 2 we have Show me the extra, because at number 2 we have number 89, Diabolus the Mind Hacker. Diabolus is a rank 7 Psychic Xyz monster with 3 effects. First, as a soft once per turn,
Don't worry Fel, I save non-stop so that won't happen.
First, as a soft once per turn, you can detach a 1 mid-tier look. You can detach a 1 mid-tier look. You can detach a 1 mid-tier look at your opponent's extra deck and banish 1 monster from it face down. Second, at the end of the battle phase. Second, at the end of the battle phase, if Diabolist destroys a monster by battle, you can target a card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it face down. Third, as a hard once per turn, if a card your opponent owns and possesses is banished face down while you control Diabolus, you can banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck face down, equal to the number of their cards currently banished face down. Diabolus the Mind Hacker is an integral part of Kashtira's zone locking strategy. Diabolus the Mind Hacker is an integral part of Kashtira's zone locking strategy. Enabling the deck to repeatedly activate Kashtira Shangira's effect to lock your opponent's main monster and spell trap zones up to 9 times in a single turn. Hacker is an integral part of Kashtira's zone locking strategy, enabling the deck to repeatedly activate Kashtira Shangira's effect to lock your opponent's.
Okay YouTube, just ignore that I turned on loop and get me almost copyrighted, why don't you? It was going to play fairy tale music, the fuck YouTube, I turned on loop.
Shangira's effect to lock your opponent's main monster and spell trap zones up to 9 times in a single turn.
Yet I have a 1 hour and 20 minutes Yu-Gi-Oh music BGM running. That's the one.
Shangira's effect to lock your opponent's main monster and spell trap zones up to 9 times in a single turn. More importantly, however, face down banished cards are the hardest cards to interact with in the game. More importantly, however, face down banished cards are the hardest cards to interact with in the game, and Diabolus banished cards face down in spades. The ability to choose and banish any card from your opponent's. The ability to choose and banish The ability to choose and banish any card from your opponent's extra deck is so powerful that many decks that would only run one copy of engine requirements or boss monsters have begun to run multiple copies of these important cards, simply due to the existence of Diabolus the Mind Hacker and Kashtira Unicorn. Simply due to the existence of Diabolus the Mind Hacker and Kashtira Unicorn. Simply due to the existence of Diabolus the Mind Hacker and Kashtira Unicorn. In addition to this, since the typical Kashtira combo involves Kashtira Rise Heart banishing In addition to this, since the typical Kashtira combo involves Kashtira Rise Heart banishing 3 cards from your opponent's deck face down to banishing Rise Heart banishing 3 cards from your opponent's deck face down to trigger Shangri. To trigger Shangri-Ra's Zone Lock. Involves Kashtira Rise Heart banishing 3 cards from your opponent's deck face down to trigger Shangri-Ra's Zone Lock. Shangira's zone lock, Diabolus will often banish 4 cards from your opponent's deck on their first turn, resulting in 8 total cards banished. First turn.
I'm just doubling checking effects, one moment.
Banish 4 cards from your opponent's deck on their first turn. Bliss will often banish 4 cards from your opponent's deck on their first turn, resulting in 8 total cards. first turn, resulting in 8 total cards banished. Resulting in 8 total cards banished, 7 from your opponent's main deck and 1 from their extra deck. However, on subsequent turns, Diablos will continue. However, on subsequent turns, Diablos will continue to banish larger and larger quantities of cards from your opponent's deck. With Kashtira also being able to With Kashtira also being able to easily trigger this effect to banish more cards on your opponent's turn, losing almost half of your main deck and extra deck monsters before your first turn can be an FTK, depending on what cards were banished. However, on subsequent turns, Diablos will continue to banish larger and larger quantities of cards from your opponent's deck. With Kashtira also being able to easily trigger this effect to banish more cards on your opponent's turn, losing almost half of your main deck and extra deck monsters. Kashtira also being able to easily trigger this effect to banish more cards on your opponent's turn, losing almost half of your main deck and extra deck monsters before your first turn can be an FTK, depending on what cards were banished. Almost half of your main deck and extra deck monsters before your first turn can be an FTK, depending on what cards were banished, and is one of the main reasons depending on what turn. Losing almost half of your main deck and extra deck monsters before your first turn can be an FTK, depending on what cards were banished. And is one of the main reasons that cast Kastira is widely considered the best deck at the time of this video's writing. Kastira is widely considered. Diablos' ability to banish cards from both your opponent's main and extra decks allows Kastira to whittle down the resources of any deck. Allows Kastira to whittle down the resources of any deck it faces. Giving it inevitability unmatched by nearly any deck after as little as 2 or 3 turns. Giving it Diablos' ability to banish cards from both your opponent's main and extra decks allows Kastira to whittle down the resources of any deck it faces, giving it inevitability unmatched by giving it inevitability unmatched by nearly any deck after as little as 2 or 3 turns. Giving it inevitability unmatched by nearly any deck after as little as 2 or 3 turns. Giving it inevitability unmatched by last caster to whittle down the resources of any deck it faces, giving it inevitability unmatched by nearly any deck after as little as 2 or 3 turns. While it's accessible While its accessibility in Castira demands players make choices While its accessibility in Castira demands players make choices during deck building, similar to cards like Nibiru the Problem. Similar to cards like Nibiru the Purple Bean and Bean and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Similar to cards like Nibiru the Purple Bean and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. The way these decisions manifest is often argued to be unhealthy and toxic for the game. Players are currently currently faced with the decision between paying. Players are currently faced with the decision between paying for 2 copies of often expensive extra requirements for their deck that they would otherwise only need 1 of. Of often expensive extra requirements for their deck that they would otherwise only need 1 of, or simply instantly losing to Kashtira the moment Diabolus hits the board. This conundrum is compounded by This conundrum is compounded by a simple issue of supply and demand. Since the price of these important cards is effectively double what they typically would be while players are doubling up on them, all because of Diabolus. All because of Diabolus. Since the price of these important cards is effectively double what they typically would be while players are doubling up on them, all because of Diabolus. This led to a wide outcry for Diabolus to be banned, and it finally was in the June 2023 TCG ban list. And stacking up to number 1 are the Runic Quick Play spells. And stacking up to number 1 are the Runic Quick Play spell. Quick Play spells. All of the Runic Quick Play spells come All of the Runic Quick Play spells come with two effects. First, each spell comes with their own unique effect. First, each spell comes with their own unique effect. In a vacuum, the best of these effects is the monster negation. In a vacuum, the best of these First, each spell comes with their own unique effect. In a vacuum, the best of these effects is the monster negation of Runic Freezing Curses with the spell trap. With the spell trap destruction of Runic Destruction and monster destruction of Runic Flashing Fire. Curses with the spell trap destruction of Runic Destruction and monster destruction of Runic Flashing Fire tied in a close second. Then after using their unique effect, each Runic Quick Play spell will banish a certain number of cards from the top of your opponent's deck face up. The amount of cards banished depends on the spell. With runic smiting. With the Runic Smiting Storm being able to banish the most cards in a single activation. However, instead of activating a Runic Spell's unique effect, you can instead use any Runic Quick Play as an instant. Play as an instant fusion for any Runic Fusion monster. Runic Fusion monster. Runic Fusion monster. Runic Quick Play as an instant fusion for any Runic Fusion monster. Fusion for any Runic Fusion monster. Fusion for any Runic Fusion monster. Provided you can summon that monster to an extra monster zone. Then Then, to top it all off, if you can... Then, to monster to an extra monster zone. Then, to top it all off, if you control the... Then, to top it all off, if you control the Runic Field spell, you can activate Runic Quick Play spells from your hand during your opponent's turn. Your opponent's turn, mirroring the way instants function in Magic the Gathering. Mirroring the way instants function in Magic. Instants function in Magic the Gathering. Instants function in Magic the Gathering.
Oh no, I forgot to make it a PNG. Time to fix it.
Mirroring the way instants function in Magic. Instants function in Magic the Gathering. Mirroring the way instants function in. Mirroring the way instants function in Magic the Gathering.
Just a moment, I'm getting a new drink. Be right back. Alright, time to work some more. We got about half an hour left at this pace, I think. We're actually going at a pretty decent speed, surprisingly. I thought I'd get slowed down more while streaming it, but not using my model didn't make my editing program lag as much. Anyway, back to work I go. Getting there.
Similarly to the previously mentioned
Holy shit, dual logs, you are really mumbling here.
the previously mentioned in the way instance function in Magic the Gathering. Similarly to the previously mentioned Necroface, one of the best parts about runic Runic's mill strategy is that Necroface, one of the best parts about Runic's mill strategy is that it banishes your opponent's cards as opposed to sending them to the graveyard. Runic's mill strategy is that it banishes your opponent's cards as opposed to sending them to the graveyard, preventing your opponent from accessing any powerful graveyard effects they might have. While it's not imposing any powerful graveyard effect, preventing your opponent from accessing While it's not impossible in any powerful graveyard, while it's not any powerful graveyard, prevent your opponent from accessing any powerful graveyard effects they might have. Any powerful graveyard effect. Accessing any powerful graveyard effects they might. Any powerful graveyard effects they might have. While it's not impossible to recover banished cards, most decks will struggle to do so. Unless most decks will struggle to do so unless using banished cards is already part of the regular game plan. If Runic sounds incredibly strong, that's incredibly strong, that's because it is. However, However, all rune However, all runic quick play spells come with the unique downside of force. Side of forcing you to skip your next battle. Phase. A horrible downside most decks can't deal with. While it might seem cheap to put an entire archetype of card at the number 1 spot of this list,
yeah, kinda dual logs, but I don't judge.
I believe it's one. I believe it's warranted since nearly every card in the archetype effectively does the same thing. Same thing. Runic cards interrupt your opponent's game plan, banish cards from the deck, and then lock you out of your battle phase. It's clear that Runic It's clear that Runic is the first archetype printed by Konami with the explicit intent of That Runic is the first archetype printed by Konami with the explicit intent of decking your opponent out. Explicit intent of decking your opponent. Explicit intent of decking your opponent out. And it does a great job at doing so. While some decks that only splash While some decks that only splash Runic as an advantage engine have found success waiting a turn to use a battle phase as an advantage engine. Decks that only splash Runic. Waiting a turn to use a battle phase, decks that only splash Runic as an advantage. While some decks that only splash Runic as an advantage engine have found success waiting a turn to use a battle phase, the inevitability of deck out can be the difference between winning and losing in drawn out or stalled games. Overall, Runic has all of the tools a good meal deck needs, and cements the Runic quick play spells as all of the tools. has all of the Runic has all of the tools a good meal deck needs. Runic has all of the tools a good meal deck needs, and cements the Runic quick play spells as the best mill cards in the game. Runic has all of the tools a good meal deck needs, and cements the Runic quick play spells as the best mill cards in the game. Alright, and that's the list. Alright, and that's the list. Alright, and cards in the game. Alright, and that's the list. Are there any good deck out cards you may have missed, or have any specific deck out cards that stand above the rest? Or do you have any ideas to suggest for future videos? If so, please let us know down in the comments below.
Oh my god, fuck you YouTube, it started playing fairy tale music again while I have loop on. Well, if those 3 minutes or something are muted in the VOD, it's not my fault, I tried.
Diablos' ability to banish cards from both your opponent's main and action decks allows caster to whittle down the resources of any deck it faces, giving it Deck Out is an alternative loss condition included in many card games as a fail-safe to prevent stalled game states from lasting forever, and occurs whenever a player is unable to draw a card whenever required to do so. Mill decks embrace this mechanic as a primary needed to discard cards or set up the graveyards, such as Danger Dark World and Dragon Rulers. These decks gain tons of advantage by sending their
Alright, the video is done now. I'm going to render it and check for mistakes, and if it's ready I'll send it in after. I will do the rendering off stream of course, because that's just sitting there and waiting, and I don't do that, I walk away while it renders, hahaha. So yeah, we did like 7.5 minutes in a little under 3 hours, I believe. Not bad at all. I was expecting way worse while doing it on stream. Also yes, my videos are a editor's worst nightmare because I keep adding those markers. All these orange markers will literally give any other editor a heart attack, but here we are. I use them a lot because I also have to tab out a lot due to only having one screen, and I use them to time effects and such. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Let me turn on BGM while we look for someone to raid. And then I'm going to get some rest and render this one, and you'll probably see it up on the channel in a few days if there's no problems. Anyway, let's see who /s online. Alright, let's go to Meowie. She's playing Room of Depression, and that's basically what we just did editing this video. Alright guys, have fun at Meowie. I'm going to render this. Be nice to her. And thanks for all the new follows guys, I really appreciate it. I hope you had fun watching the behind the scenes. Bye bye for now, see you again tomorrow.